I mentioned in one of the videos that I couldn't just order tires and braids and whatnot from my local, or run down to my local hobby shop and pick them up like you fortunate souls in the U.S. and other countries, the U.K. especially. Lots of hobby shops, no matter how small your town is, I'm sure you have one. But here in Thailand, things are a little bit different. And even though I'm in a fairly large town, almost 2 million people, Chiang Mai, there's no hobby shop here. Not that does slot car accessories. So I mentioned Lazada, the foreigners here call it. That's our Amazon. That's your app on your phone. You go and find almost anything, made in China, or everything's pretty much made in China these days. So anyway, I got some packages from the Lazada man, just dropped by. I've been ordering stuff, so I figured I'd open them up. And, it's not a car, obviously. It's 4 small packages. So it's not a car, but I can open up and show you what goodies I got from Lazada. They don't have braids or tires or cars or things like that, but they do have some stuff I can use with my track. So I'll open these up and show you what I got. All right, once again, I've used my trusty rambutan knife. That's a must-have, or a hobby knife. And I tore off the tops. There's people. We got people. Painted figures. So that is something that you can get from China, basically. I don't say Lazada, but once again, same as Amazon. They sell people. I think I've got, I don't know why they done it in 4 separate bags. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So it's all, I guess it's all people there. So much for the unboxing. Just 4 bags of people. They sent 4 different packages. That's crazy. All right. I thought it'd be a bunch of different cool stuff. I've been buying some tools. Right there, I got the Allen head wrenches of the correct size. 1.5, 1.3, I think at 0.95. The Torx wrench. Got some paint in the other day. I'm using it to kind of weight down that track a little bit and try to get it smoother, because that's an area where some of the cars get hung up. The GTE obviously goes through everything. It's a great car. But the regular cars get hung up on that piece of track going up the hill, so I'm trying to weight it down with the paint. But I got 2 boxes of paint. I started, once again, I'm no artist, but I started painting the unpainted figures in the stand. Today I'm going to order from Lazada. They have Tamiya paint. I'm going to order, when I was doing his hat, you can see I got his nose. Not an artist, like I said, but I'm going to order flesh colored paint. I believe they have it. I bought this black off of Amazon, Lazada, whatever. I'm trying to, I think Tamiya is a Japanese company. So I'm going to get some flesh colored paint to do the faces. And now I have 4 bags. Yeah, 4 bags of people to put in the grandstands. What I will say is something that's been on my mind for the last couple of days. I wanted more grandstands. Obviously, with these 4 bags of people, and unfortunately, I got more on the way too. I have more than enough people now to fill up that Texaco grandstand that Jeff sent me in the very first batch of cars and whatnot. If you're looking at the layout, I did a video yesterday of the new configuration where I have, for safety purposes, safety of the cars, I had turned the hairpins over here to this side from that side, down by where the control tower was where they were. And since I screwed up and didn't order borders for the hairpins, that was what I call it in the description of the video, dead man's curve, right? An old surf song with Beach Boys or somebody did, don't go to or drive, be careful around Dead Man's Curve from the 60s. That was even before my time. I'm old as dirt, and that was before my time. So anyway, the bank track is down there for now. It's not the final configuration. But if you look at this track, And once again, this is just a simple turnaround, so you have a good amount of space here for buildings. And at the end of the day, I might leave the track like this, put the borders on when they come. I'll have to remove a half track or a whole track, which I hate to do, especially on the big straight. But obviously, I'll have to get those in to put borders on. They're right up against the wall, both of them. I don't have enough space for a border there, I don't believe, but we'll see when they come in. But if I had to take out a section, a half or a whole on every piece, I'll do it. But just say I leave it like that and leave this like here, I have some space to put stuff. You know, as I mentioned, I'll wind up with some kind of shelf down here for the power supply and the outlet strip. And obviously my toolbox will go on my workbench. So, you know, I had the Texaco thing sitting here. I glued some people in right there. Guy kind of hanging half off the edge there, like he wants to go pee or something, and then the couple sitting there with his hand on her lap or knee. Okay, yeah, it's PG. So yeah, that's how I had it situated. And if this track stays this way, which is an option, that is one option. You know, in my mind, I pictured a curve inside a curve, and then when I started doing that stuff, I found out that 4 foot by 5 foot is actually a very limited space. It's pretty tight when you're dealing with 1/32 scale track. There's not that much room here. So this could be pit row. This could be where the concession stands are. You know, I could have something in the middle there where those cars are, and that's where I'd put the Dunlop bridge like I had it, you know, originally before I changed the track around. But over here, what the point, the reason I kept filming was to tell you what's in my mind. There's not a lot of room on this track. You know, I kind of made my own little pit row with some dead track just sitting there, a place to put the cars when I'm not racing them. I only race 2 at a time. It's not digital yet. So, I mean, you know, I showed you here that this issue where if I put the border on this curve, there's no room. I can't move this over, and even with this over as far in as it is, you see this is hanging off. This is actually hanging off the bottom of the track by a couple of inches. So space is a problem. Space is a consideration. And, you know, I mentioned a couple of times there's a YouTuber named Boone Slot Car Garage. I enjoy his channel. I watch it a lot. He inspires me with the things he builds. I told you I bought some spray foam with the purpose of the idea of building a high backing, maybe 6 or 8 inches high. So if the cars are coming down this screaming speedway and they cut through here and they break this fence, pop, there you go. That one popped very easily. Boop, off they go, right? Into death row, into Never Land. So the idea is to build a structure up high in this corner. Once again, that would take away from any building I could put there. You know, I have the little control tower here that actually belongs down by the start somewhere, but, you know, once again, open space. Yeah, the track I can put away on the boxes, get rid of this clutter, have some room here, but I'm actually very limited as the track is laid out now in the amount of scenery I can do. So I have to figure out what I really want from this track. Do I want maximum track footprint, which is pretty much what I have now on this board? Or do I want more scenery, more of a diorama, more interesting, more buildings, more interesting things to look at? Because that's, you know, in my mind, I was going to have more grandstands, which is why I ordered more people, and the trees and, you know, little buildings. I definitely wanted multiple multinational pit stops, right? Pit garages, right, for them to work on the cars. That's all part of a racetrack. Concessions, selling food, that's all part of a racetrack. Every racetrack I've ever been to. Where I lived in Florida before I moved to Thailand, I was an hour and a half from Daytona. So, familiar with racetracks. They don't look like this. This is way more complicated than most tracks I've ever seen. But it's cool and it's fun with the cars. And like I said, once I iron out, when I was trying to run the GTE around the track at first, I had a dead spot over here. So I did the classic technique of picking the car up while squeezing the trigger, picking up the rear wheels and driving along. And when I got to this track, it was completely dead. The lights wouldn't come on, it wouldn't rev. So I knew that track was bad, and I replaced it with a nice and good track. Once again, I was using a combination of what came with the set, which you can see like this piece here. You see how dirty that looks? Now keep in mind that track has been cleaned 7 or 8 times at this point. Baby wipes, dish detergent, isopropyl alcohol. That thing has been cleaned and cleaned and cleaned, and yet it looks filthy. Then you got a clean curve, and then there, the set track, filthy, right? You see that gray, I guess that's rubber built up over the years, years and years of rubber. So you can see the new track that I replaced the dead track with is clean. That's Jeffrey's track. Jeff took a good care of his track. It's clean, the rails are good, there's no pitting. And the minute I replaced that track, boom, the dead spot's gone, and the GT, it went around the whole track. But anyway, I'll keep this one short. And yeah, just in my head, is it more important for me to have areas like that, which, you know, once again, that's storage right now. That's not going to be in the final layout. I'm not going to store track in my final layout. Here, here, and there. Is it more important to leave those open for scenery? And I guess I can take the cars off and put a pit row and put the cars in pit garages. I could take that place. I mean, that's pretty narrow, but I think the buildings would fit. And then once again, if I decide that scenery is more important to me, then this would stay open. This would stay a very simple little curve. So I would have this area in the front, that area in the corner, which already has a grandstand, and then this area in the middle to add more buildings, people, cars, whatever, more scenery. So I really had to make that's a kind of major decision I think every slot car track owner has to make. What direction do you want to go? You know, if you get a kick out of having a Dunlop bridge, like I do, and having a control tower, and having grandstands, plural, and having pit garages where the guys can work on the cars, it's just more realistic, then, you know, you got to design that space in. Whereas what I've built right now is more about having the maximum amount of track down on the 4-foot surface. I used every inch and more of the 4-foot across that these two 9-foot tables have. Oh, and I used every inch of the 18-foot of the two 9-foot tables together. I mean, there's not a lot of room outside that border, maybe 2 inches. And once again, I'm thinking about building some kind of foam board or spray foam backing to try to keep the cars on the track. So anyway, I started as an unboxing. It was pretty uneventful, and I just wanted to share my thoughts about I've got a pivotal decision to make, whether maximum track or not maximum scenery, but more scenery than I have now, which I had planned on acquiring. And now I'm coming to realize as I built this thing, it won't fit. You can't do both. You can't have maximum track surface like this and lots of scenery. So I'm going to have to figure out which is more important to me, and you know, so will you if you're building a track.